What up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on the Metal Time Radio podcast, doing a movie review for Avatar 2, The Way of Water. A little backstory. I did see Avatar as well as Neko when it came out in 2009, I think. It's been a little while. We saw it in 3D in all its glory. Special effects were great for the time anyway. I know that the movie itself, the first one, is very polarizing with people one way or the other. And then there's just people that just don't care either way about it. But because I know Lady Fatboy really loves this movie. She talks about it all the time. But for the rest of us, some people are more like it more because some of its political points that Cameron's trying to make. And to be honest, for myself, when it comes to entertainment and movies and stuff, I could care less about the politics of it all. I go in trying to escape the real world. So whenever someone says to me, well, what'd you think about Avatar? And I'm like, well, it's just a bunch of blue people and monsters. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. Now, I never considered Avatar the greatest film on the planet. Some people do revere it as being the most exceptional piece of filmmaking out there. And, I don't know. I guess what was I going to lose my train of thought here for a little bit? Anyway, I just totally forgot my point I was going to make. Sorry about that. But yeah, either way, when it comes to the film itself, I'm just hit or miss with me with Cameron. I don't care about the politics of it. I did enjoy it enough. I don't own it or anything, so it's not like I beating the door down. I know what I was going to say. So here it is, okay? Some people want to make the arguments for movies that I might dislike. So let's say Batman versus Superman. I didn't like that film at all. But some people are like, well, it made $600 gazillion. I'm like, well, that's not really the benchmark for a great movie, because, if you take something and just stamp a name on it, a familiar name, it's going to sell one way or the other. You could literally put out the worst Godzilla movie ever, and people are going to flock to see it because it's fucking Godzilla. That's just how it works. So it doesn't really matter if it makes $1 gazillion, because if you have a brand name on it, it's going to do that. So when Avatar 2 comes out, it's already got one benchmark, so obviously people are going to go see this. But anyway, to the plot of this Avatar 2, basically Jake Sully, our hero from the first film, who is now one of the creatures that live on this planet of Pandora. He's with Neytiri, who is played by Zoe Saldana. I think it's Sam, whatever his name is, who plays Jake Sully. We have Stephen Lang, who makes an appearance back into this film. I didn't think that would happen because we thought he was perished in the first one. And I will say this now. This movie's been out for a few weeks now. I'm going to try to avoid major spoilers. But because it has been out, I'm not going to be tiptoeing on eggshells or anything. I'm sorry, Kitty. You're going to have to be kind of quiet here. So anyway, Jake is now part of the tribe that he's now the leader of. The forest tribe that, with his people. And he now has 4 siblings. But one of them was actually somehow a child of a previous character in the first film. So half human, half I forget what is the creatures' names? I forget what they're called, but whatever the creatures are, they are. This one of the children is half, and then we also have this human child who was left behind because he was too young at the time to go back in the cryo chamber to fly back to Earth. This is when they all sent the humans back after they lost the war. So we have this human child who they call Spider, who has sort of integrated himself into the tribe as well. But he has to wear his mask because he's human. He can't breathe the air for very long, if it hurts him. So he's got the constant mask on there. But he plays with the kids as they're growing up a little bit, and he's got 2 boys and 2 girls, counting Kitty, who is the one that's half human and half whatever, half creature. And so all of a sudden, like, one of the issues that we have with the youngest son is that he tries very hard to please his dad. And he wants to be a warrior. He wants to fight with them, hunt with them, whatever. But he kind of constantly gets in trouble. So he's kind of like the black sheep of this family now. And it's a reoccurring theme throughout the movie. So then, of course, we now kind of skip forward to where Stephen Lang's character, he did perish in the first film, but what they did before they even went for the invasion was basically it saved all his memories to like a card. And once he was dead, they integrated all the memories into a body of one of the creatures, which is what they were doing in the first film, where they could go in these like tanks and memory-wise connect with these bodies that will allow them to integrate with these tribes as one of them. But now they can actually create the body itself over a period of time to integrate these memories, and so that they can live in these bodies forever. So you didn't even have to be part of the tribe or part of the world tree, which is where they initially did that. So now humans have found a way to actually incorporate that so they can survive in a body itself without having to go through the tribal stuff that they do, the rituals. So Lang and a few other soldiers who had this done, they probably were all killed in the first one. They all probably had their memory chips put back into their head. And the only thing they don't remember is how they died. But eventually Lang goes back to where the little shack was that Jake Scully was coming out of initially when he was working with the tribes, and found his card from his old body, which was the skeleton by then. So he kind of learned how he died. And all he knew was he needed to kill Jake Scully. This was like a revenge film for him, basically. It wasn't really so much about invasion anymore, as it was just more about finding Jake Scully and getting revenge and killing him and his family or whatever. So obviously the youngest son figures this out. He has his sisters and the brother there, and they see all this going on. So first they have to try to escape Stephen Lang's character. Let me find out what the characters' names were here. Sorry, guys. Without trying to like... Quaritch is Stephen Lang's character. So he's and Sigourney Weaver is Kiri, who is initially the one that's the mother of the child Kitty, which we didn't know about. We still don't know who the father is. I think at one point we were getting close to figuring that out, and then they didn't really reveal it. But Kitty's still part of Sully's clan. So Quaritch shows up with some of the other soldiers to where, they figure out what happened to him and all that, trying to track down where Jake Sully is. And the young kids are there, so they all are trying to get away. And actually what ends up happening is Spider ends up being taken because he figures out, they get caught at one point, and Quaritch is like kind of interrogating him. He figures out that the kids are Sully's kids. So he's like, oh, well, we're going to use this as, pawns to get Sully to come out. Anyway, that falls apart. The Sully and Jake, they all get their kids back. But Spider gets taken, of course, because supposedly he's Quaritch's son. So then what happens from there is Jake and the family decide to abandon the clan that they're in, the tribe they're in. He steps down as leader, gives it to another guy to take over. and they're gonna go and migrate to another part of the world, which is basically where all the sea people, the tribes are. They're not necessarily living in the water, but they're just on beaches and little islands. And but they're differently formed creatures where they look similar, but they have different abilities in the water, which can be taught. Now, initially, when Jake gets there with the family, you know, there's a little bit of tension. There's a little bit of mocking from some of the younger Navi, I think they're called, and they, you know, they're not really accepting him right away, but eventually they do take him and they teach him how to be in the water, how to connect with the creatures in the water. That's one of the coolest things about Avatar, as far as the movies are concerned, is that the ability to connect telepathically and spiritually with the creatures. It's not something that can just happen on the fly. You have to find the right one and all that jazz. That's pretty much how Jake won over the tribe in the first film, by connecting and training basically his biggest fucking fly bird or whatever it was. And it was pretty cool. But no one had ever been able to do it from the tribe itself. So when Jake did it, it was like, oh my God, he's automatically king of us now. You didn't even see the bird in this film, so I don't know whatever happened to it. I don't know if he just eventually let it go. Did it die in the first one? I don't even remember, but either way, they integrate with the sea people here, the Na'vi, and of course, again, the youngest son gets in a little bit of trouble, which leads him though to be saved by a whale. There's like this group, a tribe of whales that travel around. They're trying to repopulate themselves after a devastating attack from humans. Because now, unlike before, where it was mainly about humans trying to take out the woodlands and the forests and, you know, use those resources, now it's the object of this one is more about like hunting whales for their memory cores, which apparently will give humans the ability to just stop aging, which on some level is pretty sweet if you think about it. But at the same time, it's all they're doing is taking about like this much goo, and the rest of the whales like nothing, just not used for anything. And it's, you know, it's pretty a brutal thing. The movie has its emotional ups and downs. But anyway, I was getting back to the young son. He connects with this particular whale that's an outcast from the rest of its tribe, its group. And for a while, we don't know why it's an outcast until later we find out that this whale was part of a group that was under attack by humans and ended up killing not killing so many humans, but after the aftermath, I guess the Na'vi and other tribes thought the whale had killed the other people, the other fish people and whatnot. So they didn't like him. They just thought he was a killer, and they wouldn't. There's like no forgiveness with that or whatever. But eventually, we find out the whale gets redemption, you know, one way or the other. So again, the young son's always getting in trouble. He's clashing with the young son from the king of the tribe that they went to go live with. And after a while, Quaritch is still hunting them down. There's a moment where Kitty, which we find out she's Kiri's, that's the half-human creature, she has like a very special ability. Again, this isn't something that's explored much in this film, despite the fact that this film is like 3.5 hours long. So that's kind of amazing on its own. But she has this connection with the sea, and she can kind of like connect and migrate, or not migrate, but somehow connect with the sea creatures and make them do whatever she wants. She's almost like Aquaman in some cases, which is weird because it's not something she does use it a little bit at the end to help with a few things, but then at the same time, like, I figured, man, you should have been able to do this shit like a long time ago. So eventually she connects to what they consider like the the world tree that was destroyed in the first film. There's like this coral reef that's similar to that in terms of like connecting and being all spiritual. Like that's their big thing over at the sea part of the planet. And when she connects to her, she has like a seizure, and then they have to go like take her back and rescue her or whatever. But when they do that, a couple of the guys, I believe, who is the characters? They're not in it much, but they were from the first film. Anyway, they fly one of the choppers over there. There's a couple of humans that stay behind. They're just friends, and they're friends with the tribes. And you guys who've seen it or know the first one know probably who I'm talking about. But they come to try to help her, and eventually that's how Quaritch finds out where they are. So Quaritch manages to get a hold of these whalers that are, they have their fancy ships and shit that they go out there, and he's going to use the whales to draw out Jake and the family so he can get his revenge. Anyway, it's really just from there. It's really just a lot of battles, a lot of cool creatures involved. The only thing I thought was really funny was there's only at one point when the younger son, before he meets the whale, the Alcaz whale, he has an interaction with a dangerous sea creature. Probably similar to a prehistoric type of fish or shark. It doesn't really look like a shark too much, but it acts like one. And I was kind of surprised we didn't see more dangerous or aggressive creatures from the sea. We saw a few, like the panther type thing in the first film, so I figured, man, we should have like a cool looking shark or something that's controlled by Kitty at some point. But I'm gonna tell you now, you're gonna get a third film for sure. Trust me on this. Yeah, so there's just a lot of battling going on towards the end. The thing about this is a 3.5 hour long film. It's about 45 minutes too long. It really is, because there's a lot of this like recycled, like, oh, we got our people free, our kids free, and then, oh wait, there's a couple more that's caught. Oh wait, we gotta go rescue them again. Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna do that again. Oh, okay, too much of that. Way too much of that shit. I don't know why the fuck Cameron wanted to drag this shit out like he did, but he did. There was no need to do that in this film at all. If I had to rate the film, like, I know that Rotten Tomatoes, the critics have it about 77%, and the audience has it like 92%. That's part of the reason why I went out and watched this. Like, people kept talking it up, and because I initially wasn't even planning, I just was going to wait and for it to come out or whatever, and then check it out then. But by all the people saying it was so good, I went out and checked it out. I'm probably going to be right in the middle of both groups, so I'm about 8 out of 10, so that's about 80% for me. It's a little bit better in the first film, but not by much. It's not like a world's of difference between both movies, really, because they're both got similar things going on, similar retreaded plot lines and whatnot. But if you just want again, it's just a long fucking movie. So, but if you just want to get away from everything and you're not worried about any kind of the politics of it all and just enjoy yourself, you can. It's a popcorn movie. Nice special effects. CGI is good as expected. I didn't see it in 3D. I'm sure it probably looked kind of cool in that. But sometimes 3Ds can give me headaches if I sit there too long. So just saw it in standard and it still looked great. I didn't have any problems there with that. So yeah, just about 8 out of 10 for me. It's not mind blowing. I probably could have waited for it, but I had a lot of buzz about it. So I decided to check it out. Anywho, yeah, like I said, you're going to get a third one for sure. It's going to be interesting how they play that out, just because it involves Spider, the son, and everything. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you enjoyed the film, you have any comments, let me know in the comment section. Hit subscribe. Give me some likes if you like. If you have any criticisms of my review, feel free to let me know if you thought it was better or worse. And then, yeah. All right, all. Thank you all much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. That's been a good one. Take care.